Some amazing insights there. Now, next up is Robinhood's Crypto Chief Technology Officer, Johann Kerbrat, alongside the president of Dara Albright Media, Dara Albright herself, to chat on just how Robinhood is really breaking down those crypto barriers for investors.
Hi, Dara.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good, good. So honored to be here with you today, Johann Kerbrat, the crypto CTO of Robinhood,
That's
and
right.
I'm excited to jump in. So I guess I wanted to start first. I want to let you know I'm a big fan of Robinhood. We share a similar mission, which is of democratizing finance. So that's something that's near and dear to me, and I love what you guys are doing. And I was reading a lot about your history, and I thought it was so interesting. You're one of the earliest adapters of Bitcoin and decentralized technology. We were there from the very beginning. And I wanted to jump in by getting some insight from you as to how being one of the earliest adapters in this space with Bitcoin, decentralized technology, how that shaped your view of the democratization of finance.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think decentralization is kind of the key word in your question. Like we have seen centralization of the governance of currencies and centralization of knowledge and access to financial instruments in the past. And it used to be very difficult to invest in stock. You would have to use like old brokerage system. Sometimes you could not even place an order online. You had to place a phone call. You had high fees, and basically all of this basically excluded the entire part of the population that was not well versed in crypto or in financial instruments. Even like something like an IPO, where you could not access IPO offering unless you had specific income threshold or high net worth. And I think what's really exciting for me being at Robinhood is that we've been really helping open this access to everybody. So, for example, we launched this IPO access product that allows you to invest in IPOs. We have no fees on transaction. And so we've really been able to see the impact that we have on the population and the investor. Um, I think another very interesting part for me is 50% of our customer are first-time investor. And that's really what makes me excited and our entire team, to be honest, to work hard at Robinhood. We are really seeing an impact on ways that people are adopting the finance products that we are building. And I think to go back to crypto, I think it's a similar situation. It used to be that you could not use your coins anywhere. Like even being able to buy coins was almost impossible. Like 10 years ago, you had to go through so many steps and have your own wallets, and you will lose easily coins because you make a mistake. But now that buying coin is becoming easier, we are seeing a wider adoption, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's interesting you mentioned 50% being first time investors. I thought that was interesting too because I read a statistic that nearly 60% of Robinhood's customers bought or sold crypto on Robinhood in 2021, which I thought, wow, that is a really impressive number
It's
considering,
huge.
yeah, huge, considering especially that, so many conventional brokerages are at zero.
Hmm.
So, 60% is incredible. So my question to you is, do you think that conventional brokerage firms will ultimately follow in Robinhood's footsteps and follow your lead in the crypto space, much like they followed your lead in really taking, commissions down to zero, commission-free trading?
Yeah, I mean that's probably what's going to happen. I'm convinced that in some way they will follow the lead. Like they followed our lead to offer a commission-free product. Initially, everyone was saying it's not possible, and now they're starting to do it one by one. I think they will offer crypto in some ways. It's becoming too big to just ignore and say that it's a small market that we don't want to get in. Even with a recent Bitcoin ETF from a couple of weeks ago, we saw how people were excited to invest in it, and I think classic brokerage are now able to offer Bitcoin products through this ETF. But I think it's really good for the industry. As a like you said earlier, like as someone who's been in crypto for a long time, I'm excited to see more people interested in crypto in general. I'm also excited that we are seeing this wider adoption, and it's not just one or two companies anymore. It's almost every single company are starting to look into crypto. I think the more people that are buying cryptocurrency, the more we are going to fuel the innovation in the space, and that's how we are starting to see so many startups and new projects, like for example NFTs, right? Starting from the adoption of crypto and the adoption that we are getting from all this retail population that is not just thinking about stock anymore.
Do you envision at some point in the future there'll be 100% of Robinhood customers trading crypto?
Yeah, it's a good question. I can't really predict the future. I don't have this the magic ball yet, but I think like you said before, we've seen a very rapid growth in crypto in 2021 at Robinhood. I really can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next few years. But overall, I think our customers should decide what is right for them. I think our job at Robinhood is to reduce the barrier to entry to crypto as much as possible. And that's why we're removing fees in as many places as we can. We are really trying to work on launching products that allows you to get into crypto without having to worry about what you're doing. um, for example, a few months ago in September, we launched a recurring product that allows you to build a position using a cost average strategy. And we are not charging any fee, and we are allowing you to place order as low as $1.
Mm,
And
wow.
so, some other platform are actually making most of their revenue on these small orders, because that's what generates really their growth. We are actually in the position that we want to open you this strategy for no fees, and so that's really something that I'm excited to work on.
Fascinating. So, the title of this session is Breaking Down Barriers. And so, I want to kind of jump into a little bit of those barriers. And maybe we could talk about each of the main barriers that there are, emotional barrier, educational barrier, financial barrier, and what Robinhood is doing to overcome each one.
Yeah, I think there are very different barrier, and we are trying to take them down one by one, or at least that's our mission for us. I think there is always this big emotional barrier when you're trying to get into crypto. That first step into the crypto world can be daunting. What is the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? How do I transfer coins from one wallet to the other? So we're really making this first step as reassuring as possible to explain to you, how everything is working at each step of the process. We're also putting in place tools that allows you to not make irrational decision. For example, the recurring products that I was discussing about right before. It's really about making sure that you don't have to feel the pressure to buy the dip when Bitcoin is going down, or you don't have the FOMO that you're missing on a bull run. With a dollar cost average, you can invest every day, and make sure that you always have a position that makes sense according to your strategy. One thing that we did a survey that we haven't published yet, but we're about to publish it, is that one of the top three barriers that people were mentioning was they don't know how to start. Like I think it was 41% of our survey didn't know how to start to get into crypto. And so we're also working with partner and partnership to create this easy entry points. For example, you may have heard, like last week, we just launched a promotion with Burger King, and as soon as you buy a meal, you can spin a wheel, and you potentially get one coin. And I think the coin can be anything from Dogecoin to Bitcoin. But the goal of this kind of partnership is really to get you into the ecosystem. You start very small. When I started 10 years ago, it was just with a few Bitcoin, which at the time was nothing. and slowly you build your position, you build your interest, and you start looking into it.
Right.
I think the other part is really educational. I think, you know, a lot of the issues that we've seen in the past in finance revolved around like the issues that we're seeing with people not knowing what they can do, or what they should be doing. And so Robinhood invested a lot into products that are allowing you to understand the basics of crypto. So we have a Robinhood Learn Help Center that are breaking down the basics of crypto, and we'll be expanding this section in the next few months to actually give you even more resources to explain to you what is the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, and why should you even care about that. That's still a lot of things that some people are not necessarily aware. Um, the other thing that we have is Robinhood Snacks. I don't know if you've seen that before, but it's a newsletter that we are sending every day. I think at this point it became like the largest financial newsletter in the world, and we are basically digesting financial and crypto news for our reader and listener. And this is completely independent editorial team from Robinhood. Like, we don't influence them. If anything, sometimes they even like teach us new things on crypto. So we are really excited to work with them. And yeah, we're also trying to add education across the product. We have news on the crypto detail page to tell you like why is a coins rallying or going down. So very easily a user can see it from the app and be able to understand what's going on.
And is that the news? Is it sort of where it's for the non-tech or
Yeah.
someone really just beginning and getting involved?
Yeah, and there are multiple type of news. We display news from different news website, and so you will have some websites that are a bit more technical, and you will have some websites that are just like for everyday user. And that's our goal. It's to really appeal to the entire population, not just a specific group of our customer base.
Right. No, I love it. I mean, you touched upon so many points that I have some follow-up questions on. First of all, as far as on the emotional side, I love what you're doing with Burger King, getting it out into the mainstream, but so important to really overcome that fear, because it really is. People they're excited about it, they're learning about it, but they have no idea how to get started.
Yeah.
And, here's a way it takes all the fear out, and the fact that they could do this with microtransactions. So basically, I guess the cost of their Whopper and Shake, they could get started in crypto. So I love that whole, and that 40% number, that's really high. That's fascinating statistic. And then on the educational side, since you guys also are known in just the traditional equity markets, that they're getting first time investors even just involved in equities and stocks and more of the traditional asset classes, are some of these financial literacy programs or educational programs showing them also the importance of diversification, ways to diversify their portfolio?
Yeah, that's all about, that's our goal basically. Is we are trying to, even if you go on a specific crypto page, we are actually recommending you also to look at the other crypto, because we want to make sure that people understand how to diversify and reduce their risk exposure basically. And that's part of all our discussion. Like, we are making sure that all our content is mentioning that you should diversify your portfolio and how to do it. And I think that's why we are seeing so many users actually starting to get into crypto, is they are trying to get some exposure to the crypto world because they are hearing about it in the news, they are seeing it in the newspaper, and they don't necessarily know how to get started. But with Robinhood, you have this advantage, that you can use the same platform where you're buying and selling a Tesla stock, and also get exposure on Bitcoin or on Dogecoin. So that's, I think, what we are really being an easy access product. We are really helping you in one place manage all your finance and manage access to all this diversified class of products.
And it's interesting too because when you look at Bitcoin, I mean, there are some wild price swings. I mean, it could be, it could be down thousands one day, up thousands the next. So, it's interesting because, historically, when people would invest in the stock market and then we would have these crashes, people would leave the market and never get back in. Now with Bitcoin, people are becoming more and more accustomed to these wild swings and the volatility. So I wonder even how that will impact even the traditional equity markets. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think that's also part of our role in some ways is to explain to people like, is it something that is normal? Is it something that we are seeing? And in crypto, like you said, we've seen very long cycle that where like every 4 years, and now it's starting to become like every year, and maybe it's going to become every week or every day very soon. But I think it's part of our role to really help people understand like, is that movement something that we are seeing a lot? Is it not something that we are seeing? And it should be part of our education process.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. So how about on the financial side too as one of the barriers?
Yeah, I think on this one, people know it at this point, but we really try to remove like any barrier to entry. Like we have no fees. We actually have a $1 account minimum, so you don't need to create an account and load it with all your savings. We are really trying to be accessible to anyone in the US. And yeah, we are trying to build these features like recurring to dollar cost average. And we're really making sure that we offer you like a platform where you actually get the most coins for the dollar that you're investing. And so that's really what we are working on the most is how do we make sure that we can offer a commission free trading platform and at the same time having all the products that you will see on other platforms.
Interesting. So could you talk a little bit also about the new Robinhood crypto wallet that's going to be
Yeah,
launched? Okay.
I'm really excited about this crypto wallet. I basically started earlier this year, and it's been one of the projects that our entire team has been working so hard on, and we're actually going to start launching or opening the waitlist in the upcoming week. Um,
I heard there was a
we
massive wait list, by the way.
We've been so impressed with the waitlist. I think more than 1 million people sign
Wow.
up, and they're actually user of the platform. They already have an account on the platform and everything. To me as a old school guy who had trouble to find in the past a wallet system or a non-custodial wallet, it's incredible to see how many of our customers are ready to use their wallet and potentially use more of the feature of the crypto space. So that's really exciting for the crypto community. I think that one of the biggest wallets in the world is going to be open to the crypto space. Um, but yeah, our wallet is launching sometime this month, and we will start opening to the public. We'll build a relationship with our customer. We want to learn what's easy to use, what's not easy to use, and basically build the best wallet that we can. And we'll start to roll out to more user every week, basically until early next year. Um, I think we want to take a very safety first approach, and we want to really understand that in the past, crypto exchanges have seen a lot of problems around sending the wrong coin to the wrong address, or
Mm.
people not really understanding even what's an address. And so we are making sure that this won't happen in our platform. um, I even me, for example, I've been sending coins back and forth, but every time I'm sending coins to somebody or to my own wallet, I always like kind of this ball in my stomach because I'm never sure that the coins will arrive. And so we are trying to make sure that we are launching a product that remove a bit this fear from our customers. Um, and yeah, also like we're making a lot of investment in our platform to secure our account. So we'll be one of the most secure wallet. I think we will require multi-factor authentication before
Mm.
you can do any withdrawal. We will potentially ask for selfie before high risk transaction. And in case there is an issue, we were the first company to offer 24/7 live customer phone support for crypto issues,
Oh,
and for free as
wow.
well.
Wow. That's a big deal.
That was a big deal, and the feedback has been actually very positive. I personally tried to call the phone line the other day because I wanted to see how well this was done, and the people working there are amazing, and they actually know crypto. They were able to help me, and that's super exciting to see, and we got very good positive feedback.
Wow. See, and that, I mean, conventional Wall Street can't compete with that. 24 hour, you can't compete with 24-hour trading. Now they can't compete with 24-hour customer service.
Exactly.
That's pretty huge. And how would you say that the Robinhood wallet will be different from, let's say, a Coinbase?
Yeah, I think there's this security aspect that I mentioned. There's this customer support, and I think maybe the educational part of it. We really want to make sure that our user can use this product without worrying too much. Um, but I think overall it will be similar to the Coinbase wallet, the custodial wallet, and we are excited to allow our user to be able to go outside to the world, the crypto world, and get into the space more.
And are there just certain tokens that they'll be able to purchase to begin with, or do you plan at some point to really have all of them available on the platform
To trade or to
to trade?
send.
Yeah, either.
Yeah. So to send on the wallet, we'll open to every coin that we currently trade on the platform. To allow trading, we can really talk about which coins we want to list or not, but we are looking into expanding our offering. Yes.
Interesting. And do you ultimately at some point seeing maybe that even world opening up to various NFTs, that type of thing?
That's definitely something we are looking into as well. But for sure, at this point, we can't really talk too much about our roadmap. But NFT is definitely something that we are seeing a lot of traction. A lot of our customer base is interested into getting into this part of the world. So at this point, we really want to focus on the wallet part. Building a gateway to this world, and so people can buy Ether, for example, on Robinhood for the cheapest price, and then go buy the NFT that they would like on a different platform. But soon we will, look into adding more and more features.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you mentioned just in the beginning of this conversation the IPOs and how you really democratize access to new issue
Hmm.
offerings. I would imagine that at some point would also extend to, let's say, token offerings as more and more we start to see that even in traditional finance.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting to see how many new layer ones or new tokens or new products are coming in the crypto space. It's moving so fast. It feels like kind of the 2000 all over again in terms of like how many companies are coming and
Right.
on the platform. So that's definitely a lot of things that we are looking into. But yeah, at this point, we really want to focus on our current offering and making sure that people can safely invest in Bitcoin and the six other assets that we have on the platform.
And then will they be able to do other, like, let's say, just, DeFi type of, applications? Will they be able to, let's say, stake, lend, earn interest on the crypto, all that sort of thing?
It's also very soon for us to talk about it, but we are definitely looking into a lot of these things. At this point, we really want to give them the choice to get into this world, but in the future we'll definitely add a lot of these features, at least in some variation, or at least help them to get access to these features.
And then I would imagine too, just that, on education for that alone. I mean, that would just be such, a huge, huge, I think benefit, I think to the whole industry, just, really getting people to understand, because some of it is really complex and, especially for new investors. I love it. It's fascinating.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, one of the other things that I wanted to touch upon a little bit is, this whole, Reddit and the chat rooms and everyone, we've seen all the craziness this year with that and the stocks and meme stock mayhem. How do important is it in your mind for retail investors to have platforms like Reddit or even just any type of community type of online platform where they can go and discuss and share ideas and strategies?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, it's interesting to think about this for me because, at the time when I learned about coding and programming, and it was very hard to access to resources. And maybe it's because I'm old, but, or maybe the resources will be available, but not in my language. And at the time, I wasn't really reading English, and so finding books and documents in French was very difficult or very expensive. And so at the time to learn about coding and programming, you will go on IRC channel, or you will go on forums to exchange ideas and build on top of, source code that you will find kind of everywhere. And it was very similar thing as well, like a few years later for crypto, until it became something mainstream as of today. You will go on IRC channel, or you will go on now you will go on Discord and Telegram. But it's something where, money has always been kind of this taboo topic where, we didn't want to talk about money, and we didn't want to talk about investment. But now we're starting to see a similar trend to what I was talking about, and people are exchanging ideas, helping each other understand the tax implication, the different kind of ways of investing in a specific asset. And I think it's great that people are talking about it now and sharing and learning from each other. Um, I think, obviously, we should probably say that it comes with risk on a personal level. Like, you have to decide that, things that you're finding online is the right thing for you. But I think for me, it's important that we help people learn about these things so they can make their own opinion about it, and make their own decision in the future. And so I think this platform, to be honest, are just like the way the new generation is evolving and learning about things. It's not just in book in high school anymore. It's actually online on this platform, and with the community that is international and from all background and all horizon.
I think that's such a great point, and you're right. I think it's a great analogy too that you made too, just when you were just getting involved in the space and just how much knowledge you were able to learn just from going on online and reading what other people were doing. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about
Hmm.
sharing the knowledge, sharing the the intellectual wealth, if you will. So I think that is such a great point. So what do you think? I do think, and I know we have a little extra time. So, and I thought this was something really important to talk about too, because I think there is such a high financial illiteracy rate that
Hmm.
we have here. I mean, that really is a problem. Especially kids in school, they don't learn about stocks and bonds. They're certainly not learning about cryptocurrencies, but they're not learning about really any kind of financial products or investment products. And, now we're looking at, people nearing retirement age that are woefully unprepared for retirement. I mean, people, could barely afford, $500 emergency at this point. I mean, it's a scary time. So, I think, and I would be curious to get your insights on this, as that was the previous generation now, moving towards retirement, very unprepared. But now with everything that, like, let's say, companies like Robinhood and what you're doing, to promote financial literacy and to, really provide assistance on this whole educational front. How do you see, and I know you don't have your crystal ball, but how do you see that impacting this next generation as they approach retirement? You think we'll be in so much of a better position just because of all of this knowledge now that they have?
Yeah, I mean, it's another great question. I think I definitely agree with what you were saying initially. Like, I think it's a major problem that we see across the US, and even across the world, to be honest. Like, we don't really have advanced economic classes in middle school or in high school. And you turn 18 or 21 and you're suddenly thrown into the real world, and and suddenly you're being asked for a credit score, and that you should put money aside on your IRA account, and nobody really explained to you what's the difference between a Roth IRA and a IRA and a 401k.
Right.
And so I think that's part of what I was saying initially, where we created all this barrier from everyday people to understand how to invest, and how to make sure that their money is going a long way. Um, I think around Robinhood, like our CEO Vlad talked about how we are considering entering the US retirement space during our IPO.
Mm.
um, I personally think it's a pretty interesting scope for a company. I think uh, we've been very good at helping users understand how to invest, how to use options, what are the implications of selling something at a particular moment. I think with the right education, we will be able to really help our customer and people in general understand the importance of saving for their retirement, and what it means to put $10 when you're 18 versus putting $10 when you're 55, with the compound interest and all these things. So I think we might be able to be in a unique position because we are attracting so many first-time investors to help them build their wealth and build their financial portfolio for their entire life, not just for their first years, or not just for retirement, but basically their entire lifespan.
Yeah, no, I think so. I couldn't agree more. And I think, also the same generation that's now, more tech savvy, getting involved into this space more and more, understanding crypto more and more, learning, a lot of these same folks don't really, all the data and statistics will show you that they're not staying with the same employer for 40 years, getting a pension when they retire and a gold watch. So,
Hmm.
they're barely even staying in the same industry. They're kind of
Hmm.
moving around, and the whole retirement labor force is changing. So it becomes really more important than ever, I think, to have those type of programs in place to help people really starting to save now. And I think, and you could weigh in on this too, but I think it's interesting. It should be fun.
Oh yeah.
Investing doesn't need to be, it, oh, you talked about, the emotional barrier and overcoming the fear, but, we could also, I think it's a good thing that investing is fun and people are excited about it. And, I mean, how do you feel about that? Because people talk a lot about like this gamification of finances. If it's bad, I don't really see that as being bad.
Yeah, I also don't think we are doing anything around like gamification. We are just reducing the barrier again to entry. Like we don't want to spend a lot of our time working on something that is helping people make bad decision. We're actually trying to help them make the right decision, and that's why we have so many of these education screen that we're adding everywhere on the app to really explain to the user to our customer what they are doing. And so I think for us, the point is really to help them do what they are trying to do, and then in terms of decision, it's still on the customer side. But I don't think that by adding more barrier, we're actually helping customer base, and we've seen that in the past with specific um, requirements. For example, if you wanted to invest, you needed to be a accredited investor. You needed to have like all these kind of high net worth requirements, and that's not something that I think is helpful for the population, because we are basically excluding them, and the people that can access that, then they are in this very exclusive circle, and they are basically helping each other in the circle, but we are leaving 99% of the population out. And so I think that's really what makes me excited to wake up in the morning and to go work at Robinhood. Is everything that we do, we are trying to basically bring back this 99% of the people population into this circle, so we can give them access and reduce this barrier to entry. um yeah.
I know, I love it. That's what I think. You're exactly right. Spot on. That is what it's all about. And hopefully one day they'll get smart regulators and eradicate the accredited investor rule altogether. But until then, we should be really grateful that we have firms like Robinhood that are out there that are really, doing something to democratize access to capital for, the other 99% of the population and also that need it the most.
Exactly. And I think that's where also crypto for me is very exciting because we we are starting to offer a system that is not controlled by just one entity or one company or one government. It's a decentralized system, and people can make the decision to believe into this decentralized system and to really make investment into this space that seems to be getting traction more and more. So really excited to see that happening as well.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect note to leave off on.
Well, thank you so much, Dara. It was great to chat with you.
Thank you so much. This was really fantastic.